Welcome back, man. I'm your abbot bro Pete. We're showing you around this God Tribe house.
Whoa, hi, everyone. I'm Mathai bro, and I'm totally down to be your bro.
Yeah, Brown in here. I mean, this place is brotastic.
And I am Boldred, the Sky Queen. Are you Gortrive squirrels getting up to mischief?
Nah, we just chasing out that mouse to throw him off the ledge.
I already knew that. I know all.
So, welcome back, folks, to Recorder on the Wall. I'm Pete, and you heard Matthias, Brayden, and Katie in that order. And yeah, welcome back to Martin the Warrior, Season 3 of the PBS cartoon. If this isn't already obvious, yes, we left off with the God Tribe House chasing Martin and his companions.
Yes, and they sound very childish, as someone brought up last time. It's kind of unnerving.
There's a Lost Boys vibe to them.
Oh, yeah.
We're only covering 2 episodes today, not because we're trying to artificially extend this out, but because as we've mentioned with this season, it's plot denser. It really is. And it helps to just go over this. It also means shorter but more frequent episodes when I remember to edit and get out on time.
I was going to say, I think this is the only book, well, at least the book that I can think of, where there's not really an A plot and a less important B plot. Like the plot with Rose, Martin, and Grum and Palom, and the plot with, I almost said Breldo and Foam.
Oh, man.
That is a great spoonerism. I love it.
It is! So the plot with Breldo and Foam is just as important.
Or maybe to go with our frat house entry, it's Broldo and Bro.
Bro, yes.
So, that being said, the other thing we left off was, of course, the Fern Freedoms running to get the heck out of Dodge as they liberated the remainder of the slaves. And, of course, Clog took this opportunity to double back and change the locks on Marshank.
Oh, but he actually didn't change the locks?
No, he didn't.
He forgot.
He was hungry.
Yeah. It's okay, who took the spare key out from under the garden gnome?
Yeah, we like that. So that's why Bad Rain couldn't get in when he gets back. So we begin proper with the God Tribe chasing Martin, and and with the intent to kill them, and of course, Grum is falling behind. He's not sure he's going to get there. But, and I've mentioned this previously, it's harder to take Martin's fate seriously, as we all know. He has to survive in what would have been Mossflower, a potential season 4.
Martin dies?
Oh, not for a good long while.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it ends the way it does. You gotta add something.
Yep. So Martin is pulling up Palom and Grum while Rose is the first one up and runs into the cave. And of course, I had to be like, really? Really? Because our first exposure to Boldred is the classic, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Does
That's
anyone
what-
remember?
Much?
I was going to say, does anyone remember there was a cassette tape about exercise songs that all had to do with animals, and there was an owl song, and it does say, "Who are you?" And that's what it reminded me of as soon as she said that. I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna have that owl song stuck in my head from when I was a little kid. Great.
See, I would have gone with the "Who Are You" by the Who, and that's the theme song to one of the original CSI. But yeah, that actually goes into our theme song proper, and of course we get back, and who dare wakes Boldred without coffee?
Boldred is the best. I love Boldred.
Me too. I was sad that we didn't get to see her family.
No.
But yeah.
So, and in this game, if you remember from the book, she threatens to drop the God Tribe and use her talents to murder. Here she it's less obviously like murdery, but she still grabs a couple of the God Tribe squirrels and drops them off the cliff into other God Tribe squirrels, and those squirrels are dead. There is no way they
God Tribe-
survive that.
Maybe they're
God tried
nerfs.
to go down the hole.
So
Yes, Braden?
yeah, and that's enough to chase off the God Tribe. So yeah, and Baldrin's character herself is just kind of there.
Mm.
Like in the book, she's kind of an overprotective mama owl towards her chick, sure, and she's more exasperated with the constant God Tribe issues. But other than that, she's a pretty chill person. Here, she barely speaks at all, and as we point out, her family's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, which I kind of I really liked in the book that I mean she has kind of two sides to her. Like she has this booming terrible voice, and then she goes into the cave and she's like, "Oh, my dear, you wouldn't believe what the God Tribe are doing now." Just like
I get why Nelvana cut them out. I don't think it was the right choice.
no.
No.
Just me.
Because even if they're just background characters and, oh, hey, husband and a chick, that's all you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean Emmett doesn't even talk in the book. Like the baby doesn't talk in the book either. So you could just have a baby just hanging out.
Yeah. And we then flash over to Feldo and Brome, who realize that, yes, Badaring's forces are following the obvious cart tracks. Okay, that's fine. And no, Matthias, you have notes here about that.
Yeah, Feldo is going to go full Rambo, isn't he?
There's that, yes.
Oh, the other one. Yeah. And I find the well, when we see them redraw the cart tracks, it's like, okay, here, just follow my lead, pat, 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 cover up just an ever so short amount of actual tracks, and then, okay, we'll just draw them away. Well, I get that it's dark out, but A, they didn't really get rid of that much. They didn't do that good of a job. And B, as we see Brome and Feldo drawing these tracks away, it's literally less than, like, I'll say 50 feet away from just around the bend where the cart, you can see it parked at the end of the tracks. You can see everybody gathered around a fire, and it's like, okay, surely Batarang's troops would hear the partying going on just around the bend, and they would absolutely see the glow from the fire. I'm not mad at you, Nelvana. I'm not. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. I admit my brain ran to kind of a very Looney Tunes-esque thing here, where the cart tracks are led to clearly a rock wall that's been painted with a tunnel.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. And then you see Brome and Feldo walk through the painted-on tunnel, and then the vermin are chasing after them, and they run smack dab right into it,
Yeah.
because why not?
Oh, I would have loved to see that animated. Of course, that's not what happens. If what happens is actually more terrifying in its own right. But we'll get there in a moment, because we go back to Batarang leading his own forces, and he literally walks up to the Marshik's front door and tries it, and it's locked. And as mentioned, did we say this on air about the whole gnome thing?
Yeah. Okay, who took the spare key from under the garden gnome?
Clog did, obviously. And he's locked Batarang out. And Batarang doesn't, no one takes anything well in this series. Of course, he shouts out, "Clog!" Loudly, I might add. And then he turns to his troop.
I'm sure that the guards that are on guard duty will absolutely not hear him. No, really, they don't hear him.
Yeah.
As we quickly find out, they're all drunk, but that's another story. But Batarang's literally, after shouting Clog's name very loudly, turns to his troops and said, "Follow me, but the first one to make a noise, I'm going to kill myself." It's like, Okay.
but you're making noise.
Hence the verbiage.
And so we go back to our trackers who are following the car tracks, not to a painted wall that has a tunnel, because that would be humorous, but to a very much worse fate.
Can you say swampy marsh?
Can you say quicksand, kids?
I mean, what's a Redwall book without that?
Oh my god. This is genuinely terrifying. This one is genuinely terrifying, not just from a child show perspective, but just how quick these guys go under.
And like
Yeah,
in turns, they know what's happening.
Yeah, not even 10 seconds. And then there are some that are like, they're standing there, they start to sink, and then they're out of camera view within 2.5, 3 seconds.
Wow.
It's like they were on firm-ish ground, and then they were gone.
Also added in this scene is Feldo throwing apparently invisible javelins. Yeah, he's throwing javelins at the various vermin types, but we never see the javelins actually hit their targets. They're just the targets fall over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're not even sticking out of them. It's like, okay, I see no evidence of what hit them. I get why 7 rating. You can't show certain things on TV. Couldn't you have just had him throwing sling stones instead? Again, Nelvana, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
But yeah, and then of course there's only about 3 survivors, and they look around. They're like, "Oh man."
There
But
were
yeah.
a bunch of us. Now there's much less a bunch of us.
Yeah, he's learning to count.
I mean, they can tell that there's fewer there, but I think they'd still have to count on their claws to make the numbering work. And then again, I think the Redwall Dibbins, who are counting 1, 2, 5, 7, 11, would
Yeah.
be smarter.
Yeah. So yeah, they'll leave, and I'm sure we'll see them again. No, we will, because I'm not gonna keep doing that gag. And we go back to Boldred, who is quietly leading, who just finished introducing to our intrepid quartet. Oh, I'm Rose, and Boldred's like, oh, Rose from Noonvale. You know me? Yeah, I visited your village to map it. Great. Can you show us the way home? And says nothing further except indicates down the tunnel. Hence, I don't get Boldred's character here. So she's like, basically, Boldred has become the creepy wise old man from Monty Python and the Holy Grail at this point, who guards
Yes.
the bridge.
How did Kim?
But instead of asking 3 questions, she's leading them through the tunnel, and the heroes are complaining that the tunnel is too cold. Okay, fine.
Yeah, this is weird.
And Rose just is rightly somehow freaked out, and
Yeah, I didn't get why they put this in. Like, I'm frightened. Okay.
In the middle of this, Martin and she are holding hands. So
Yeah.
subtle.
I will justify that slightly by the fact that it's supposed to be dark in there. She cuts her paw on a stalagmite as she's walking past that she obviously could not see. She wasn't aware of. So I think it's more of a, here, let's stick together, but also fills the role of shipping.
Yes.
Well, to be credited, they are building the relationship. The book is good about that too, if more subtle. Like
the book is much more subtle.
Yeah, the book is much more subtle about it. This one is a little bit more obvious, but honestly, seasons 1, Matthias and Cornflower, and this, Rose and Martin, it's actually a decent showing a building relationship over time. So I'm not gonna knock that. The only season that gets it wrong is Matamayo and Tess, as we covered when we covered that season. But that's more just A, they're kids, and B, it's rushed. Anyway, back to this. So the first thing when they get outside the tunnel and see the sunlight, yay! They jump right into the river for funsies.
Yep, they successfully got through. Mountain magnificently meandered.
Very nice. As someone who has actually gone hiking in mountains, yeah, that cold water in this usually is pretty refreshing. So I won't knock them on that.
And I
And
actually went into a cave once, and yeah, it was pretty cold down there.
Oh yeah.
and then we get introduced to shrews, who are not pygmy shrews. Yay! They're not the Gossam, obviously. And they're first thing they're a little like threatening to our quartet, and they're like, "Oh, you have a mole, so you're good people."
Yeah, I think
They have-
they took that from Agril the hedgehog.
Yeah, about him. He's not here.
Yeah, so they put the shrews liking they put Agril's liking of moles onto the shrews instead for some reason.
And I could have sworn this was the. I mean, maybe it's when they return to Marshank. There's the raft, but I thought was this canoes part of the original run? Anyway, yeah, these shrews are like our quartet asked, "Hey, can you take us to Noonvale?" And I'm like, "Wasn't Boldred supposed to tell you where to go?" Okay.
I do like this scene, even though it's not quite like the book, just because it has probably my favorite line in this entire season. Because everyone's hanging out in the river, and we haven't met the shrews yet, and then you hear, "Charge! Charge!
Oh yeah.
I'm not charging just because you said charge. Not charge! Charge! As in charge, huh? Can't you tell the difference?" It's like, that is the most shrew line ever.
That is.
It's technically like that gray area between canon and official fanon, but I love it. It is the perfect encapsulation of everything that we have come to understand as shrew behavior.
It also felt very Knights Who Say Knee. We're going Monty Python.
Fair. And regarding Agril not being here, yeah, I get why he's completely cut from this.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
He honestly doesn't really serve much beyond later humor and implied, "Oh, he could have murdered you if he wanted."
Yeah.
So
Which they don't want in a Y7 cartoon.
yeah. So yeah, I get why he's cut, and it's really not a big deal. But it's just like, hey, wait a minute, where's the cherry grove? Kind of a second.
Yeah, it would have been the cherry on the cake.
No.
Okay.
So we cut to bad. I've also we also get through this. We get Batarang actually using the slave tunnel. The book just kind of glosses over that, which so I'm kind of glad we to see it. But Batarang is literally being held up by two of his own crew by standing on their shoulders, and he starts monologuing. "Sir, you're a little heavy." "Shut up."
It's actually a surprisingly well animated sequence too. Probably because it's not very long, only maybe like 10, 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But it's much better animated than some of the other scenes we've seen. Probably because it's such a close up.
It is. So we get Batarang, of course, retakes Marshank in the middle of the night because all the pirates are drunk because they assume, there's no other way back in. And we get Batarang, who confronts one of the pirates and says, "Don't lie to me, or you'll never lie again." And do you understand me? And I can't help but think the pirate, of course, nods because it's obvious. The implication is if he lies, Batarang will murder him. But I'm sitting here like, no, can you explain to me what you meant by never lying again? So Batarang and his forces retake the fort, and of course they capture all the drunk pirates. Not that was hard to do. And there's Clog in Batarang's bed wearing his clog shoes to bed.
He was very drunk.
Apparently.
There's comfort clogs.
Security clogs.
Yeah, security clogs. That's it.
And we get well, they're not going to help him much here because Batarang literally asks him, "Do you think you could take Marshank from me?" "Yes." Do Clog
And then he
spread?
immediately backpedals and is like, I was only minding it for you while you were out. Yeah, sure. That's what I was doing.
I was house sitting.
Yeah. And I only ate all your food and took all your oh, right. But we
Don't
get
forget
that.
to give me 5 stars.
That's how house works. Get access to the fridge.
Yeah. And we get the next scene where Clog hauls all the pirates out and basically offers them the 3 options, same from the book. You can stay loyal to Clog, so you'll die. You could become slaves, or disavow Clog, so loyalty to me, and join my ranks. And I'm sitting here like, did Bagrang expect any of them to take the slave option?
I doubt
Of course not. The reason he's offering is saying, as a veiled threat, hey, I can either kill you, enslave you, or you can join me. You're
That's
going to
fair.
take option 3, right?
The pirates take, there's that famous like voice act that obvious like where they're whispering to each other about what options, and so I can't help but think, well, I mean, Claude gave us Demel, but Battering's offering a 401k. So yeah, obviously everybody in Clog's former troop signs up with Battering. However, we don't get actually the kind of nice moment where Clog in disbelief's like he asks like Crosstooth, I was never a bad captain to you. He's like, no, but in this scenario I've got to stay, I've got to take the option that keeps me alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually wish that was here because it shows that the Clog's forces, they're not taking this personally, but they understand they have to do what's best for them. Oh well. And of course, Clog becomes Marshek's one and only slave.
Yes.
Well,
Proving that even though he might be one of the biggest idiots in the entire series, he's no fool. He knows where his chips lie, and for the rest of these 2 episodes, he's going to take full advantage of his slave status.
I noticed that. And we'll get to episode 11, but Clog doesn't really seem to have a slow descent into madness here. He is perfectly like lucid and in full charge of his faculties, but he's just like, oh, I'm a slave. I guess I can't help with that.
Mm-hmm. I was ordered to do explicitly this. You did not tell me to watch out for spoilers for a future episode. So I'm just going to sit here and do nothing because I was not ordered to.
This is the very definition of Reddit's R malicious compliance.
Yep.
Yes.
He doesn't get paid enough to care.
He doesn't get paid at all.
Exactly.
So our last bit for this episode is with the second to last bit. We have one with Martin and Rose and Paul and Grom and the Shrewboats. Second last bit is literally the acting troupe, the freed slaves, debating back and forth like, hey, we literally don't have enough numbers to take it to Badrang, but if we don't do anything, he's going to keep enslaving from local creatures. But maybe we should just cut our losses and run the heck out when we have freedom in the first place. And I mean, this wouldn't be the story it is if the troop of actors and freed slaves didn't try to turn right around and stick it to Badrang. But I mean, and while I agree with their overall point that if they don't act, Badrang's just going to keep doing what he's doing. But yeah, on the same time, this is actually not unfair to the other side of let's just get the heck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tread into too sensitive a territory, but considering current events, it feels a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I mean, honestly, given what we find out about the Fern Freedom Fighters, that they have a 10th tops of Badrang's forces, and their whole plot is guerrilla warfare. Yeah, I mean, it's not ineffective tactics, but it might be better in this case to leave and come back with greater forces.
Mhm.
Especially now, they don't know that Clog and Badrang's rivalries ended, and they might count on that to whittle down some more of the numbers.
It hasn't ended in Clog's mind.
No,
Mhm.
no, it isn't. And episode 10 ends with Martin, Palom, Rose, and Grom on the shrew boats. And Rose is like, "Hey, I recognize those willow trees. I used to play around them when I was kids." So they were about to back to Noonvale.
Hooray, Noonville!
Yep.
Oh, we do miss one great moment. As they're going along in the boats, Boldred rescues them from going over a waterfall. And you get this great line of one of the shrews being like, "Hey, we've never come this far south before." Oh.
Yeah. I also didn't cover that when Frodo, Brom is just like, "Well, we should take heart. I bet Martin and my sister are back on the way back with the Noonvale army." And I'm like, "What army?"
Yeah.
We'll find out about them next episode.
Yeah.
As in right now.
Actually, before we get there, we have, according to the Rebel Wiki, we have two differences from the book. In this episode, I wrote down that wrong. Let's try this again. In this episode, we already touched on this. Boldred's families have been left out.
Mhm.
Okay, episode 11 begins with Frodo's revenge. Yes, nice and dramatic. And yes, I know it's like, what, 37 is the count? Official?
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can do math.
This previous episode was episode 10, aka episode 36, Tunnel Vision. This is episode 11, 37, Felder's Revenge. And
he can
I
do
want to
math.
point out something before we get too far into this. When we go through the tapestry recaps, you see, because Badrang was like, "Clog, you're going to fill in the prison pit by yourself." So we see that, but Badrang's cloak is like partially over the top of his head. He looks like Batman.
Yeah.
I am the knight. So episode 11 begins with the Rose suddenly not sure that this is Noonvale. And oh, no, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, that was weird.
so I have to speak my experience when reading the books growing up. And remember, Martin was my first book that I ever read in this franchise. That Noonvale was kind of an Ewok village, at least in approach. That, or at least self-contained forest village, if we don't want to use the Ewok look. And we're told that the village in the book, that the village is inside a forest glen, and which is kind of why the reason it's isolated, hard to find, and no one thinks to look in there. But here, when they come to pass the magic pointing rock, because that's what Rose recognizes, it's almost Rivendell-esque. They walk in and suddenly they're there. And they're literally, it's stone houses with stone walkways and bridges. And there's a fountain and everything. And I'm like, huh. Okay then.
Like proper medieval village, complete with thatched roof cottages.
Totally.
And watch out for Trogdor there.
I was hoping someone would say that.
I was thinking to myself, but I didn't want to scream thatch roof cottages, so I just decided not to say anything.
That is appreciated.
And I'm not sure that there are any peasants here that need burnination, so...
There's no dragons in this franchise, thankfully. And apparently Boldred is stalking them because she's very bored and we see her following them and keeping an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's Eren Vo, Rose's father, whose model is definitely Luke, except it's been tweaked and recolored. Like the
I was gonna
mustache,
say,
the mustache is a little different, and the colors are a little different. But that's Luke.
yeah, he's got like different shin fur, and he's got like a bigger braid going down the back of his, head down to his neck, and it's like that's still Luke, just different colors.
I do like his voice though. The voice actor has a very pleasant voice. So does the one that plays Arya. They both have very pleasant voices.
Yeah, Arya, by contrast, is more of a unique model. Like you could probably argue that she's a heavier set Rose, but
Mhm.
she's more definitely unique. Also, a mouse has no name. Okay, there's my Game of Thrones joke. Moving on.
I was irrationally angry and I don't know why, but like when Arya's like, "Oh, my daughter, I never thought I'd see you alive again." I'm like, "Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it."
Did
just
they
got
set
so
her
mad.
out in the first place to find their missing son?
Yes. And it was just like unnecessary, adding to make the not spoiling the future events, but everyone knows what happens. It's like, stop that. You're playing with my emotions. I do not appreciate it.
So yeah, they welcome her home, and although the trivia for this episode bit points this out, Rose goes through the trouble of certainly introducing Martin and Palom, but also reintroduces Grum. And it's like, I know who that is.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. I was
Mhm.
looking at the page today. I was like, yeah, that's definitely weird. I didn't even notice that.
It's like Grum is from Noonvale. You're reintroducing somebody that left with your daughter to go find your son.
Yes.
And
Elvana,
Rose...
I'm not angry with you. I'm just disappointed.
We're going to be hearing that a lot, aren't we?
I don't know
So-
how long I'm going to keep this up, but I'm certainly enjoying it at the moment.
So Rose also, they're also like, so did you do the one job we sent you out to do? You mean Brom isn't back yet? No. Oh.
Oops.
So yeah.
Bro, where are you? You had one job, Rose. One job.
But Martin's the main
Oh.
character.
What was that, Braden?
But Martin's the main character. I brought him back.
Oh, he's got title plot armor. Or title character armor, but you get my point.
Yes.
So we go back to Marshank, where Klug, as I said, he is definitely the definition of malicious compliance. Because we see guards get knocked out. First guards get hit on the walls, and Klug looks like, not my problem. If I was a proper partner, I'd bring this up, but
But I'm
And-
just a slave, so it's not my responsibility.
And then the Fur and Freedom Fighters set the javelins on fire and toss them over the walls.
Whee!
Because that's how fire works.
Yep.
You just said fireworks.
Oh.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's actually not a bad tactical idea to burn Marshank to the ground. Because even though the walls are primarily stone, if you manage to get a big enough fire going, you'll probably burn up Batarang's food caches and other supplies, and he's not going to have any choice but to abandon the fort. So
I was gonna say burninate the thatched roof longhouses.
So as the Fur and Freedom Fighters keep doing this, they're like, okay, we've done our thing. We should probably run, right? And Feldo's like, we can't run now. We're just getting started.
Yep,
No,
Feldo's going full Rambo.
I mean, you literally pointed at Feldo himself was literally like, we should probably do this hit and run style last time. No, Marshank must pay.
Yep.
So he grabs a small cadre of people with slings, and they go to the other side and attack that side to make Batarang think there's more people, which more PBS bloodless death with guards getting hit by sling stones and they fall over. That's fine. Although Juniper, on the other hand, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have one other named mouse in that small troop who, despite the fact that there's, the Fern Freedom Spider should really know what, if you're in arrow range, you need not to stand still.
He did not serpentine.
No.
No.
Call him Rickon Stark because he just sits there and basically takes like 3 arrows, although we never see the arrows hit him. That's not good. And of course, Feldo's mad. And about this, we also get Batarang saying, hey, there's more of them over there. Clearly, that's our enemy, so shoot them when they get close. And it's the scouting party who had survived the marsh.
Oops.
Oops, you broke it.
Pretty sure we made this joke last time, but Vermin HR is going to have a field day with Batarang killing his own.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's a little dark here because we zoom in on the lead of the scouting party, who is very much dead, but his remaining good eye is wide open for just a little bit longer than they needed to, or if at all. Like, for kids.
I actually feel a little bad for Hisk here, where it's just like suddenly out of nowhere he thinks he's home safe, and then oops, arrowed.
Yes.
Boss, why?
Arrowed.
Ow, my skin!
Man, this is just going to be one long Homestar episode.
Yes.
So, of course, Feldo confronts that Juniper died on his watch, and he bravely offers to carry Juniper bodies back, but they're sitting there quasi having a memorial when you are still in arrow range.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I mean, they're within a spitting distance of the fort itself. It's just like, what are you doing?
That's not how it happened in the book. There's a podcast I listen to that compares the Harry Potter books to the movies, and that's their tagline now. Either that's not how it happened in the book, or that's not how it happened in the movie.
So yeah, they're sitting there mourning Juniper. I mean, I'm good for Batarangs archers that they have a sense of decorum, that they're not going to shoot at the clearly freed slaves who are within range. And of course, Feldo has angry eyebrows. He's mad.
Mwahaha.
So we actually go back to Noonvale, and it's night, and the main lodge is lit, and people are having a party, and it's actually kind of a nice scenery. I actually kind of like how the interiors look too. Yeah, cool. Martin is still holding the shrew dagger in his belt line, and then eventually they remember, oh yeah, we're supposed to ask him to hang this up.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised they bothered to go into that detail, but they do.
So I found it when he goes to talk to them, there was this it felt like video game NPC moment where they just turned to him like, "Hi, Martin."
Welcome to
Welcome to
Corneria.
Corona.
Exactly.
But yeah. Martin just basically begs Ernvo to ask Noonvale's very dense population, more on that later, for volunteers to help. And Ern's like, nah, I don't know about that. And his wife's like, here, you need to hang up your weapon just so it's not because we're a place of peace. Just hang it up over there. Okay.
Yeah. She plays the peacemaker a lot, both in the book and in the series, in the animation series, because Ervo's like, no, you cannot talk to our people. You cannot do this. And the wife's like, well, maybe we should let them decide. And then Ern's like, give me your sword. And Martin's like, no. And Arya's just like, you can hang it up yourself. Nobody else will touch it. And she's like such a mom. Just like conflict resolution, guys. Come on.
She's even more of a mom than some of the Badger moms we've had, because they're very much like, I'm going to use my size and weight to basically tower over everybody, and you're going to do what I say. Here, it's just, I'm the mom. I'm asking you to do this. I'm not angry with you. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, no.
But we continue back with Clog, who really should know not to rub salt in the wounds anymore. But what else has he got to do to entertain himself?
Mm-hmm.
Because Clog is there when Badreg confronts the fact that I killed 3 of my trackers.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And Clog, of course, is very he's very understanding. He's not at all.
No.
He's not understand. He literally kind of laughs at Badring's misfortune until Badring's just like, yeah, you get to dig the graves. Have fun with that.
Yeah, it's basically Clog pulling a Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets.
Well, oh,
Pretty
But-
much.
and of course, Badrang is a little sadistic to his former friend because he tells the guard overseeing him, "Don't spare the rod." And of course, the guard doesn't spare the rod because he grabs a whip and uses that to threaten him.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to Feldo is angry because we're at the funeral of Juniper, and Feldo is he's taking it well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, very well for somebody as unsocially adjusted and filled with vengeance and anger as someone can be. Which is to say,
Yes.
he's not taking it well at all.
No. And of course, he uses the opportunity for Juniper's funeral to not say anything about Juniper, but to promise vengeance.
And Brom
Yeah.
is like, what is going on with you?
Yeah, and I really like the fact that Nelvana went ahead and used this to basically frame the concept of bitterness and resentment are a dangerous thing to allow yourself to be fueled by. They're very powerful emotions, yes, but they can drive you into recklessness. Don't be like Feldo.
As opposed to bittermint, which is my least favorite kind of gum.
It doesn't sell as well as Double Mint, but
No.
Yeah, you got double mint, triple mint, quadruple mint, and then bitter mint.
Yes.
It is the most mint, the strongest mint.
we go back to Ernvo having a discussion with his daughter about, hey, I don't want you around Martin because, Gloom and Doom follow him, and yeah, it's a standard parental warning we got last time. And Rose, of course, does not listen at all.
Nope.
Oh, don't worry about Martin. He can take care of himself. It's not Martin I'm worried about.
It's kind of like that, like parents whose child brings home that first boyfriend or girlfriend, and the parents clearly can see, oh, this is not going to work. It's kind of what Ernvo's opinion is.
Oh, this is the most cliched dynamic on Earth.
Oh, absolutely. And we saw this in the book a little more explicitly because when Rose volunteers to show Martin to his room, Arya's just like, no, I'm doing that. And that's when we have this conversation between Ernvo and his daughter in the book. So we go back to Clog, who is still kind of basically comic relief at this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He's using the attacks on Marshank as basically TV. He just gets to sit back with his popcorn or whatever he gets, as that's the equivalent of popcorn, and watch as everybody who's betrayed him dies a terrible death.
Yep.
Because this time we have Feldo acting alone, and this is straight out of the book where he uses the javelin with the javelin thrower to get over Marshank's walls and basically into the longhouse. And Badrang he's going to have some nightmares over this because several of those javelins stop short of his eye, only by inches.
Whee!
Yep. And Badrang hiding behind the table makes me very happy. The facial expressions he makes are hilarious.
Yep. And right before this, Badrang is all mad and he's taking his frustrations out on his people. And those are very hurtful words.
Yes. HR has to talk to him about using socially acceptable language.
Yes.
So if Batarang got mutinied here, he'd completely deserve it. Of course, he doesn't, but we do get Feldo enjoying way too much psychological warfare because Batarang's just like, yeah, you missed, kid. Haha, you can't hit me. And Feldo's just like, that's okay. Don't go bother to sleep because I've got all night to try to hit you.
I mean, his
You laugh.
javelin throws go through doors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Feldo, to his credit, knowing that the seed of anxiety is planted, just goes back to camp. So have sweet dreams there, Batarang. And Clog, of course, is just loving every minute of this.
He's good
Oh,
at
yeah.
sleeping anywhere. He was in the bed. He was in the wheelbarrow. Now he's on some sacks of something.
Sandbags, yeah. And yeah, I don't see where Clog is supposed to be going into madness because he's really not. He's just malicious compliance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like and even admits like I don't really need to do anything except Marshank will be mine by default when this is all
Mhm.
over. I mean, at this rate, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's left?
Yeah, what's left of it. We go back to Martin, who is looking down into the fountain and literally looks up his reflection, and all I could hear was straight up Lion King. See, Luke lives in you.
Wow.
We do get Arya, who's just like, yes, you're going back to fight Marshank and Batarang. And she points out, Rose told me that he has your father's sword. And Martin, although Martin says, well, that's not the main reason. And he does say it genuinely, like he's going back to free friends and whatnot. But I'm sitting here like, no, Martin, while you're doing this for better reasons, this still is about vengeance and getting your dad's sword back. Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where Martin asked the grand population of Noonvale. I said the grand. It's a dozen people. It's a dozen people.
Did we skip where Arya is like, or Martin's like, I will protect her life more than I will my own. That little
That little
thing.
foreshadowing part, yeah.
Yep, because there was something
Mhm.
added to it. Like Arya was like, well, we both know we can't stop Rose from doing whatever she wants to do. I'm like, that's interesting that they put that in to kind of absolve Martin of future happenings.
Mm,
Like, I mean, technically it was Rose's decision. So I just kind of thought
Mhm.
that was an interesting add-in that they put in.
yeah, they do. But actually, they could. They just lock her in a room. You could do that.
Well,
But-
yes.
Yeah, but you want to lock up your teenage daughter. Yeah, it probably won't go over well.
That
Yeah, never
usually,
go full Rapunzel.
usually does
Oh
not
God.
work out very well.
So, of course, Martin gets Pelham, Grum, Rose, and of course Rose volunteer, and her parents. Arya actually starts crying over this. Like she doesn't want to see her daughter go off to war, and then we get some nameless red shirts from Noonvale.
Well, I'm sure we'll survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
As Chris do.
We go back to Marshank, and Batarang has some of his forces deliberately dig pits that no one can see into. Yet their heads are sticking out. But and Clog, of course, is being again not crazy, more just vindictive and kind of funny. He's like, "Oh, you're digging your own graves. Thanks, guys. Saved me the job."
Hmm.
One thing I don't like for a book change here is in the original, Batarang quickly figures out in this section that Faudo's acting more or less on his own. And he's doing that from the wall top. And while he does figure that out here, he doesn't taunt Feldo from the wall top and get him nice and worked up so he's angry and not thinking straight.
Yeah.
Batarang just was like, oh, there's one guy, so we're gonna set a trap for him, and I'm gonna go walk out there and rile him up from the ground alone. And if you hear me call Marshank, help me. It's like, no, I kind of think that was important character showing here. Like Feldo losing his cool enough to lose his temper at Batarang and issue the challenge that Batarang knew he had to answer if he wanted to keep the respect of his troops. We don't get that challenge here. We get maybe Feldo insulting Batarang and his troops snigger at this, but that's about it. Batarang opens the front door and is like, hi, former slave. How can I help you? Now, you did see the no soliciting sign on the front door, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, and then Feldo tosses a few javelins his way. Batarang just casually dodges and challenges him to a one-on-one fight, which Feldo agrees. And you know what? Maybe it's just because I liked that movie growing up, but there's a very Hook versus Rufio vibe to this.
Sure.
And if you follow the book, the show kind of follows the same thing, although Feldo doesn't see the obvious dug-in people around him. Okay, whatever. Maybe he's got red in his vision and he can only see Batarang. That'll be fine.
Gotta get that looked at.
Because he's very much in the middle of, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Feldo!
Yeah. So, Feldo does manage to beat Batarang on his own game, and of course he does the one thing heroes should not do in these duels. He taunts him, and before he stabs him down, he's like, "Ooh, I got your sword. Now make sure to return it to its proper owner, but after I'm done here." And it's like, Feldo,
do you have any last words?
less
Never
talk.
say this!
Yeah.
Less talky, more stabby. You only get your quips in after the bad guy is dead. And of course, that's when Batarang's like, Marshank, help?
Yeah, the only reason the show doesn't end here is because Martin's the main character, and he has to be the one to defeat the villain.
Yeah. And suddenly pops up all the bad guy, the 8 or so that Batarang had to help out, and Feldo's just like, oh, that.
Oops.
Details.
So we end kind of what I already said with the Martin asks them for help, and Arya returns his true dagger to him and is like, okay, here's your dagger back. You know, make sure you promise to only use it for good. And that's when, Martin, you must go to the Salamandrostron system. There you will learn from Bor the fighter, who instructed me. No, I joke, but he does see like his father's image. And Martin, if you're seeing a hallucination, you might want to have that checked out.
Again, you might want to get that looked at.
And this may or may not be related to any brain damage he sustained.
Martin,
Or
brain
will
damage?
sustain.
No, we could assume he's had some brain damage. I mean, he initially got knocked out when he was first captured, and he's just the type that Batarang would have probably beat around in the past.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that ends episode 11 with because Boldred also comes down. It's like, hey, I totally heard from Barkjon, which you don't see me talking to him, that you need to get back fast. Okay. Boldred's just kind of like the fast travel in this.
Yeah.
In this series. So that ends in episode 11. And did Feldo die?
I don't know. It's pretty unclear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've used that joke before, but worth it.
Mm-hmm. Now, will any of the other main characters die? I'm sure one of them will rise to the occasion. Wait, hold on. No, because the show has already happened and we're watching this, the past broadcast. Someone rose to the occasion. Yeah.
Ding.
It's still funny.
No, it is. I'm not saying it's not. So that, dear listeners, is where we'll stop with this. So Before we get into where you can find us and what we thought of these 2 episodes, because I do want to touch on that. By the way, April approaches, and we're gonna have extra guests on for Fan Fiction 5. Yay!
Yay!
Hopefully, I don't find one that breaks me this year.
So I'm committing to this on air, so I actually do it. I've got an idea for fanfic. I'm gonna write it.
Oh.
There we go. I said it.
Ooh.
So yes, if you've never listened to our fanfiction episodes before, there's a couple of ground rules. We don't cover anything that's more bloody than the series general. And while I don't mind people submitting their own fics for us to review, bear in mind, if we pick you, we've picked your fic. So, and while I don't tend to like doing these. I don't stop my fellow panelists from covering them. I personally don't go for shipping fics, not because I don't think they're not valid fan fiction, but I'm more respect that, Brian's style of romance was very subtle, and I prefer not to pick people who ship random characters together. That's just my personal preference. I won't stop our panelists from doing that. Okay. That being said, so what did everyone think of these 2 episodes?
Well, there was story that happened, but it also felt like there were enough elements that could have been cut out that this really could have been one episode. So, yeah, it would have rushed the plot along, but at the same time, it's like there were moments where it's like it feels like you're just drawing this out and padding things out. And as funny as it is to see Clog basically laughing hysterically at the downfall of his former cohorts, there's the part of me that's just like, I'm not mad, Nelvana. I'm just disappointed.
Oh no.
And so that's going to be my rating. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, they were fine. Like, there was nothing here that I did like. Ernvo and Arya. I like the actors that played them. Yeah, all the Feldo stuff. Like, I did not realize how that fight scene went at the end. Because yeah, I just kind of lost what was happening. Like, this does not seem like it's like the book, but I cannot verify that. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. It was just sometimes in some parts they were hard for me to follow just by listening to the audio alone. But yeah, I definitely like some parts, did not like other parts. So in conclusion, again, they were fine.
Braden?
Yeah, so I think I'm a little biased for personal reasons, partially because this is revisiting the story, which is not necessarily the book, but especially the last episode reminds me specifically of like this very, how certain memories stick out to you, this very like specific memory with my dad who was into figuring out what his son is reading, and he specifically talks to me about Feldo and like how we have to critically read about these characters instead of them just being awesome. We have to talk about their character traits and like the foolishness versus the bravery, and that just stuck with me, for the last long time. So yeah, this episode specifically made me think of that. He's probably going to listen to this too now.
Hi, Braden's dad.
Hello.
Hi there.
So I was biased just towards this specific development in this, at least this last episode, and I like that a lot and how they handled it. But other than that, I do agree with you guys.
Mm-hmm. For me, yeah, this is still fairly good. I'd actually take the opposite tack of Matthias here. I don't mind that these are 2 full episodes, but one of the better parts in the book is Martin getting antsy during their time at Noonvale. Not that he's not enjoying himself, but he's just like, I need to get back. I need to get back. And we don't see that here at all. It's more just, I need to go, just more of a general, I need to go back. And it's there. Moreover, like I said, yeah, we get Feldo, who is always meant to be this darker reflection of Martin, like completely letting vengeance take over. And we don't get a lot of him showing that pure rage. It's toned down for kids. It really is. Moreover, and I forgot to mention, there are changes from the book for episode 11 that the wiki outlined. because I do want to bring this up because one of them in the book, Feldo kills about 20 of the Horde beasts at Marshank, while he also beats up Badrang. In the series, he doesn't really kill any of the beasts, and he just points Martin's sword at Badrang after he pins him down. So, yeah, it's pulled back because kids series. It's fine.
Yeah, I think kids can handle a lot more than we give them credit for, though.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
They read small books.
So
Yeah.
the other points for differences from the book that the wiki outlines is the circumstances of Juniper's death, so minor. We have a named mouse who doesn't appear, minor. We don't have the Custer's Pie skit or the Periwinkle Parade skit from the players.
Which I did miss, honestly.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of superfluous, however, I liked them. They were funny.
And only in this only Brom and Keela try to warn Feldo of Badrang's trap. I think there's a third in the book.
Tolgru.
Thank you. Yep. Who takes way too much enjoyment to watching Badrang getting the stuffing beaten out of him. So we also have true trivia points that are unique to this episode, according to Wikia. We already mentioned Grum getting reintroduced to Rose's parents. It's like, yeah, he already lives here, but okay. But the other one, Martin shouts the Fern Freedom Fighters battle cry, but he would have no concept of that group this whole time.
Well, maybe Martin came and saw him in a dream and wait a minute.
We're breaking causality here. Don't do that.
I think a simple explanation is probably warranted here. Boldred probably told him off screen, and for Martin just probably looked at it and was like, really? That's what they named themselves? Okay. But yeah, so all minor points. Like I said, these are still good, and of course we have 2 more episodes that have no sadness, none at all. Like, yeah, it's gonna die.
Hush, we do not say those words out loud.
Okay.
Spoilers.
That'll end us here. So you can find us on recorderonthewall.com. Our primary Twitter is at ROTWPOD. And our primary contact Gmail is also ROTWPOD@gmail.com. We're semi-active on the Red Wolf subreddit, r/Eulalia, and the Red Wolf forums. And we're available on all the major podcasting services, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, or whatever they're calling themselves, and Spotify, as well as all the small timers who aggregate podcast RSS feeds.
Leave us 5 stars.
All right. Yes, thank you. Oh, I should check ratings, shouldn't I?
Little distracted, are we?
Oh, bruh, just looking for the gym while I do that.
Oh yeah, just like give us 5-star reviews because we're like totally awesome.
Looks like we don't have any new reviews, bruh. They're all still 25 and 5-star ratings, and so we're awesome. And we really thank our fans for leaving us those reviews.
Awesome dudes. They're all awesome.
I knew that already. We are perfect.
So, that being said, I'm your bro, Abbott Pete.
I'm a thigh bro.
A Broden.
And I'm the Sky Queen. Leave us 5 stars. Goodbye.